Welcome to Behind the Mic, the deep dive behind radio theology. Here are your hosts, Daron Earlywine, Lisa Graff, and Ryan Allward.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another episode of Behind the Mic, the deeper spiritual episode of radio theology, which is your weekly dose of faith, hope, love, music. This is more than a dose. It's like a full helping.
Oh, yeah.
A whole bottle.
It's like a meal of spiritual content.
A whole bottle. I went for it. Just pile it on your plate. You're drinking it down.
Well, I think dose like a medicine dropper thing.
I'll give you that.
It's like the whole bottle.
Got it.
It's like, just take the amoxicillin, just bottoms up. No, don't.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Nope.
You can get a full dose, full bottle of this and be just fine.
There you go.
It's Pastor Daron Earlywine here with Ryan and Lisa. And guys, this week, I'm not sure what happened to the show. I think we were mixing together our excitement for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And all of the cocktail weenies that Indiana can throw at you.
Yeah.
Which I still want us to sign a petition and change our favorite Super Bowl snack. I'm going for buffalo dip and or the 7-layer dip from Texas.
That would be my preferred choice, but I'll accept your buffalo chicken dip.
Any kind of dip.
Actually, I'm going to go wings, honestly.
Dips.
Wings.
Montana had the barbecue wings. I will accept that, Montana. Even though during the show I couldn't visualize your state on the map. I apologize.
But I'm moving there.
It's a big one. Kind of looks like a rectangle.
That's exactly like you sounded.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway, we were distracted by our joy for the Super Bowl, mixed in with our sorrow of the passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and all the people that died in that helicopter crash. You know what's the crazy thing about that, guys? We didn't talk about this on the air, but my family just went out to California for Christmas. And we drove. I wanted the boys to see as much of LA as they could. And so one of the days we drove to Santa Monica, we went up to Calabasas area, and we drove down through the Malibu Canyon because I wanted to kind of see it's pretty. And we literally drove right past the area there, right through the canyon where his helicopter crashed. And so it's like when it first came on the news, I'm like, holy buckets, we were like driving
just there.
through there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that. We'll get to that in a little bit. But with the Open, we did share a little bit more about Demi Lovato and her Grammy performance.
Not Demi Moore, like you said on the air.
Not Demi Moore. Her and Ashton Kutcher are not married anymore, and she's no longer in a lot of movies, and she's not singing at the Grammys, and or she did not sing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. Demi Lovato did.
Demi Lovato.
Demi came back. Triumphant return to performing. She had been gone for 2 years after, I believe, if I'm correct, she had a opiate overdose.
Yes.
So she's been battling to get clean and sober from that. She's done very well. It's her first live performance of any kind, I believe, in 2 years, and debuting her song "Anyone."
Yeah.
Who, since the performance, has gone number one or seventh number one. And I was stopped in my tracks during this performance. She came out. Song starts, obviously no one had ever heard. I'd never heard it before.
Yeah.
She gets about 10, 15 seconds into the song. If you've not YouTubed it, go check it out. It'll be worth your time. And her emotions catch up with her, and she stops. Which, Ryan, Lisa, we're all performers. I'm a drummer. You guys are singers. Ryan, you're a singer-songwriter. There's nothing worse than a performer than being live and having something fall apart.
Yeah.
I liked that she just stopped, though. She just composed herself. Her accompanist on piano he realized, you can almost see him realize, okay, takes a step back really quickly, starts over again. I thought it was a cool moment.
It was great.
The professionalism of it was second to none. But what I loved is I didn't know what song she was getting ready to sing. I figured it was probably an emotional song.
Yeah.
But then as she, grabs herself by the emotional coattails or bootstraps or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can tell she's just gritting it out to get to that first verse and chorus. And the way she sings that first chorus, it's like she's singing from like the depths of her soul. And this song is so honest.
Yeah.
As she's going through this addiction of saying like, is anyone listening?
Right.
As she's struggling, as she's figuring this out. And I think there's even, deeper meanings of even now as she's come through this. Is anyone listening to where she's been?
Right.
But it wasn't a song like, I'm writing this to Jesus, but I thought it was like an amazing moment of just authenticity and a lot of ways. I don't know if it's worship, but I feel like it's a prayer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's pretty raw.
It was. Gosh, and just the honesty of, I feel stupid when I pray. I'm like, dang, I've felt stupid when I've prayed before. And I'm like, I can understand that very well. I feel stupid when I sing. I've done that too. But I don't attach my identity to that like she does, obviously. But yeah, to admit to a group of your peers that you feel stupid when you sing and you don't think anybody's listening to you, even though millions and millions of people listen to you every day.
Yeah.
Like, to still feel unheard was, really sad.
Yeah.
Makes me feel like we are doing the wrong kind of listening in a lot of our relationships, probably.
And I would hope that the song, I mean, the fact that it goes number one within, I think, like 48 hours of the performance tells me that there are millions and millions of people that are feeling the same exact emotion that Demi is putting into song here. And we talk about all the time here on the show that God's for you, not against you, and that He's created you on purpose and for a purpose. And I do think a part of Demi Lovato's purpose, right, is to sing, to entertain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that she says in there, I feel stupid when I sing. I mean, it could have something to do with maybe the content of her music before, whatever. But I think it's more of like struggling with this drug addiction and like, you know, she feels false, she feels fake, she feels whatever it is. I just feel stupid when I'm up here singing. And then to tie that together, then I feel stupid when I pray. Like when you're battling, if you have anything in your life that you've been battling in a cyclical type of addictive pattern, I mean, you feel pretty stupid a lot of times when you're coming back to God again and being like, hey, God, me again, yes, same subject.
Right.
And we talked about that a little bit last week about, you know, not being afraid to run to the Father again and again and again and again. But it's just interesting that song would be so accepted. I mean, they could have rejected her for, it could have been all the news. Oh, Demi screwed up. She blah, blah, blah. But I didn't see any of that in social this week. It was like amazing, powerful, impactful, boom, song goes number one.
Yeah.
It's got to speak to the amount of pain and loneliness and just a sense of, I don't know, isolation that so many people have.
Yeah. What do you think we do about that?
Well, I mean, you know, one of the things that we talk about in the show, and Lisa, you've shared this, Ryan, you've talked about this, about a part about inviting people into deeper levels of relationship and your growth is you got to tell the truth about yourself first.
Yeah.
And that's that idea that Jesus, the thing I love about Jesus, it says in the Bible that He came full of grace and truth. And if you're going to lead people to a greater place of experience of grace and truth, you have to tell the truth about yourself first, so you create an environment where there's authenticity and vulnerability that people can step into.
Right.
I hope, and I don't know everything about Demi Lovato's spiritual condition. I know, like we were saying on the show, I think she got baptized this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went over to Israel, got baptized in the Jordan River.
Yeah.
That's where she caught all the flack from, was taking that sponsored trip to Israel and getting baptized, which was so stupid. And then she came on to apologize, and we're like, don't apologize.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that. And so I don't know what her mix is.
Yeah.
Maybe she's following Jesus. I'm not sure. Maybe I think she is. Hope she is.
It's probably not by accident that she gets dunked in the Jordan River where he was baptized.
Very great point, Ryan.
You know,
Yes.
Very great point.
Right.
whoops, just slipped right in.
Yes. Yeah.
Happen to be wearing this white robe.
Is this the Jordan?
Wow. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, Jesus, right here, literally this spot thing. Ah, wow, look, a dove.
So saying that, I think what we can do is we can create those kind of moments. And I'm hoping that, with her new album and what she begins to do, that she will lead a lot of people into that place of vulnerability and authenticity, and find that the good thing about, and the amazing thing about Jesus is that He's actually alive, and that He's actually near us, not far away from us, and He is actually listening, even if it's the same song we've been singing over and over again.
Yeah. And even if we're continually even asking, are you even listening? And that feels good to be able to say. Like, He's not scared of your questions or your doubts. Doesn't matter. Say it.
You look at the Psalms, right? I mean, look how honest David was time and time again as he's talking to God.
Oh, yeah. Lots of my prayers are like psalm prayers. Like you start with, come on, what's going on? And then by the end, you turn into, yep, you've always been faithful. Yep, I get it. Okay, I'm seeing this now. I'm remembering your character. So I feel like that's been the pattern of a lot of my prayers in my life, too.
Yeah, it's not like God needs the reminder of who He is, but it's like we need the exercise, the practice
For sure.
of confessing that again, of who He is and who we are and who we're not.
Yeah.
so that he can come in and do the work that he wants to do.
Yeah, if you're there, maybe you watch that performance, or maybe you go after you listen to the podcast here and you go YouTube Demi's performance or download the song. I mean, if that's where you are, we say this every episode here on Behind the Mic, but we would actually like to hear from you.
Yeah.
To pray for you, correspond with you. You can reach out to us at radiotheology.com, or you can email myself, Lisa, or Ryan, just our first name, Ryan, Daron, or Lisa, at blackbirdmission.com. And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to listen to your story. We'd love to pray for you. We have a team of people that work and to volunteer with Blackbird Mission, and we'd pray for you. But don't feel like you're alone. People are listening, and we'd love to be a part of that journey with you. Talked a little bit about Kobe Bryant's passing.
Yeah.
I got 3 boys. They're on to all sports. They love Kobe. And this one hit hard in our home. I think as a kid, I can remember sports stars and people you look up to dying as a kid, and it's tough to be like, wait a second, like Kobe can't die, or whoever it would be.
Yeah.
And so it sparked some good conversations in our home. I thought it was interesting, and I think it's like this anytime a person of influence, whether they're a celebrity, sports star, or whatever, dies untimely or before their time, that it usually does spur some kind of, hey, life is fragile, love everybody, which is, I'm not...
Right. No.
I'm not speaking against that.
Yes, right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Let's take all that we can.
Sure.
But Lisa, you read an article that was just kind of put a little bit of a different spin on it.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, well, you just never know. Life's short, so live like you're dying. And on one sense, yeah, that's true. Say the words to people you want to say to them and stuff like that. But like, live like you're dying is kind of dumb. You want to live in the long term. And this quote says, live like you're going to be here for a long time and learn to love the process of building something meaningful. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so good. Because that's what it all is a process of building either something terrible or something meaningful. And obviously our hope for you is that you're building something meaningful with your life.
We didn't talk about it much on the show, but we had planned on actually talking about it. I mean, there was a part where, Kobe's playing days were over, but he was building, trying to build, a platform to stand up more for women's rights in sports and opportunities and stuff like that. And I would guess that with his passing and the passing of his daughter, who was very involved in sports and a quite accomplished young basketball player herself, that effort will probably pick up steam in his absence. And if that's something that maybe God gave him to do, that was part of the purpose that God had in his life right now. The idea that what the purposes God brings into our life, He does carry them on to completion. They're not gone because His life is. And I think that is that part of like, maybe you live like, know you're going to die, but build something that will outlive you, build something that God can continue. And you can do that when you are connected with His purposes within your life.
Right. And that doesn't have to be starting something, It can be, because I'm thinking of like, how also sad is it that he was doing all this great work while he was here, but it will pick up steam when he's dead. Like, if you're passionate about something now, help it pick up steam now.
Yeah.
Don't wait for the spokesperson to die or have some kind of weird, scandal or whatever it is. Like, jump in now. Like, that's how you build something meaningful or help someone else build something meaningful.
Yeah, it was interesting to me seeing and I'm not a huge sports fan. I mean, I saw the news. I opened up Twitter in the morning and saw Kevin Hart post about it. I said, "Oh, something must have happened," and found out like everybody else did. And the thing that struck me was that he traveled via helicopter, apparently. One, because he was super rich. I get that. Don't have a helicopter. I don't even know if I had enough money if I would get a helicopter. I don't know if I trust this might have reminded me like, I don't really trust helicopters at a foundational level. Anyway, but he did it because he wanted to spend more time with his family. And he's like, hey, man, my time is precious and I don't want to be stuck in LA traffic, going to the Staples Center to practice every day when I can get there in 15 minutes via helicopter, spend more time with my family. And the horrible, tragic, ironic part is that he was doing exactly what he was passionate about. He was not passionate about basketball. He obviously was that, but that wasn't his ultimate thing. apparently. I don't know Kobe, but it sounds like he's a family man. Like he just gushed about his daughters. Like I think he and his wife just had their fourth daughter who is still an infant, and he's just like, man, I'd have 10 more if I could, And so it's, I don't know, I'm kind of torn because I see the world lamenting and mourning, and I'm like, okay, Kobe means something to, somebody differently than it does to me. But I just keep hearing us talk about like, man, live your life like you're dying, or live your life like you're going to be here for a long time. And I'm just like, why should that mean something if this is all just an accident? You know what I mean? Or on the flip side, why does life have meaning? Why does life have purpose? Like, can you try to bring meaning into something that starts in meaninglessness and ends, like, oh, you're just an accident, but for some reason your life matters. And when you die, you're gone. So enjoy it now. Or it's like you're designed with a purpose. I mean, we talk about this. I think it's like the goal of our show is to point ourselves back to that reminder of like, no, none of this is an accident. Like each of us are uniquely designed by a God who loves us, who created us, and who wants the best for us. In our best, but in our days that our worlds get rocked. And maybe that's where you are right now.
And we do this episode so we can go to the deep end of the pool. But that is the deep end of the pool as far as worldview.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, but a secular humanistic worldview, that, everything is relative, everything is accidental, nothing is caused, there's no divine creator, there's no God. Like that kind of worldview it works for people when they want to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great worldview when you want to be God of your own universe. And guess who wants to be God of their own universe? All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what we want. Like, I want to be in charge of everything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we do. The difficult in life is when we're like, oh, I might not be God, and there might be a God, and maybe we should figure some of that out. But you're right, Ryan. If you go with that a secular humanistic, view of life, then you can't smuggle meaning into it.
Yeah. Don't assign the word tragic to an accident. If his life started as an accident and it ended as an accident, don't try to smuggle meaning into the middle.
Yeah.
Don't.
Or feel gypped or somehow cheated that this happened. It's like, it's unfortunate, but we can't necessarily, who are we getting mad at?
Yeah.
We're getting mad at more accidental things happening. Like, you just kind of got to accept it. But the fact is, your soul can't accept it.
It knows otherwise.
Correct.
It knows otherwise.
Like, the word says that God has put eternity in the hearts of men. Like, it's in you. The reason people are brokenhearted is not because Kobe was a great basketball player.
Which he was.
Yeah. People aren't brokenhearted because of all of his championships, which he had a ton. Like, you're brokenhearted because your soul is telling you through your emotions, it's not supposed to go like this.
Right.
Something is fundamentally flawed in our universe because of this. And it's in those moments that can point us back to God to go, okay, and we talk about this idea. You're going to hear us use this word a ton on Radio Theology and on the Behind the Mic about getting curious. Why am I so brokenhearted about this? Well, let me get curious about this. Maybe there's something deeper to life that I need to take a look at. And the tough thing is, and I don't want to try to make some, too much of a point about this because it's so soon that it just sucks.
Yeah.
The whole thing sucks because it's not just Kobe's family.
Right.
There were other families that were completely destroyed by this, and our souls break because it's not supposed to be like this. And the tough thing is, it's like we live in a broken world where sin is fragmented and broken our world, and things like this happen, and God allows them to happen because God has ultimately fixed the problem in the final place. But it doesn't necessarily make today suck any less when you're brokenhearted.
Yeah.
And for you, this week could have been something where, maybe you listen to this podcast a year after we release it, and you're like, oh, I totally forgot about Kobe. But today you're remembering your dad. You're remembering your grandfather. You're remembering something in your life, and this is right where you are. And I want to encourage you to let the pain in your soul draw you closer to God, not move you further away from Him, and begin to allow Him to minister to you, and know that it may not make right now feel any better.
Yeah.
This Kobe situation or your situation, it just may be tragic.
Yeah.
But God is still in it, And like I said, we said before, if you need some help, if you need somebody to listen to your story, please reach out to us, radiotheology.com, or you can email any of us, Ryan, Lisa, or Daron at blackbirdmission.com. You know, we talked a little bit this week, carrying on the Kobe conversation. The thought of the day this week was about it's never too late to change your number. And some people may not remember what's kind of crazy is that you realize how long Kobe played in the league, is that he had an amazing start of his career, and he wore number 8. And then some pretty aggressive allegations came against him as far as sexual assault. You can look it up at how all that played out, and we're not going to get into the weeds of all of that. But it was a very difficult season for his family, for him, for the people involved. And it's just bad. It was a very bad situation. One that a lot of people don't emerge from well. And a few years after that, Kobe ends up changing his number, and for him was kind of a monumental kind of change of like I've become new and I'm becoming new.
Yeah.
And what I love about his story is that you look at it and the amount of years post, that season, he did become a different man. He became a family man and a great dad, and is known for those things and highly respected. But it's interesting to me. We didn't get into this because I don't know. I didn't want to get it on the radio, I guess. But I read a couple articles this week that were kind of pissed, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are we being so nice to Kobe because he died, and letting him off the hook of what he was accused of, and what he admitted that there was some inappropriateness that happened. We don't know all the details. No one was in this hotel room, but it made me think. Like, I don't know. It's interesting to me. Like, what is our perspective when someone confesses and messes up? Is it off the hook because we didn't, like, do they need to be punished every day for the rest of their life for us to feel good? Like, when do we feel justified, or when do we feel like the situation's been vindicated? If someone genuinely changes their life, do we still, when they die, need to rake them back over the coals and say, you need to pay for what you did again, or we can't see you in a favorable light now? I don't know. I'm not sure what the agenda there is or what we need from that.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. There was Lauren saw one of our friends, one of my former musical colleagues, post something like right after the fact about like, so we're all just going to let this rapist off the hook because he was famous and died in a tragic accident. It was like, whoa, throttle it back a little bit. Like, let the fire of the helicopter go out before you launch a tirade. It's like, good grief, man. Like, I think Christina Applegate tweeted, like, can we just have a day? Like, that we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Can we just have a day? Good grief. Like, a wife, a mother, 3 sisters just lost their sister and husband and dad.
Well, that's the thing.
Not to mention the other families that, it's like, let's not forget that it wasn't just Kobe Bryant in this helicopter.
Well, and for Kobe, I'm not, let me go on record. I am not defending rapists. I don't even know that he is. I don't know no one knows the exact situation of what happened.
Yeah.
Right. But are we just like, we're just going to let this guy off the hook?
Yeah.
Well, what hook was he supposed to be on?
Right.
And if his wife, and his daughters, and people around him, if he has become someone, if he asked for forgiveness, did his best to make amends, and has lived a different life, and the people closest to him love and respect him, and don't have him on a hook. They don't have him on a hook anymore. Why do we, from thousands of miles away through our internet,
Facebook
fingers, say, no, you put him back on the hook?
Well, and
what's the hook?
Yeah, well, it just makes me like, how much evidence do we need? And not just for Kobe, because I don't think twice about it really, but for people in my own life.
Yeah.
Like, how much evidence is going to be enough for me to believe that someone's changed? And we talk about that a lot, but it's like, do you make someone serve a life sentence for wronging you? If you do, that's on you.
Yeah.
That says a lot more about you than it says about that other person.
Yeah.
And that might be hard to hear. But
we live double standards. I mean, what's the thing you always say?
It's yes, we love mercy for ourselves and justice for others.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, you get what you deserve. That's on you.
Yeah. What about you? What you did?
Yeah.
Well, it was a tough season.
Yeah.
Made some bad decisions, but
I tell you about my childhood? And
I've learned from it. I've grown.
Yeah.
Well, no,
you.
You.
Oh, you're a horrible piece of Good grief. Yeah.
I think some of it is that we rarely see repentance lived out very well in our society. I'm enamored by a book I'm still reading called Unpunishable by Danny Silk, and it has opened my eyes to this punishment paradigm that we live within, that we are obsessed with punishment in our culture because it makes us feel powerful, makes us feel vindicated, makes us feel like people are getting what they deserve, because we're actually not really interested in seeing someone come to repentance. Most time when we're wrong, we don't really want to forgive, and we really would like to see them pay for what they did to us.
Sure.
And to be fair, we don't see a lot of people walking through repentance that well, where it's not just they apologize for what they did, but they genuinely change the way they think, act, and react in all in life. They've actually changed. They've transformed by the renewing of their mind, which the Bible says is possible for us. And so when we see rote fake confession, for us it's like they didn't pay for what they just said sorry and they walked away from it. But I love what Wayne Jacobson says, is that so often sin has its own punishment.
Yeah.
If I don't get as in trouble as you think I should, air quotes I'm saying, you can't see, like name the thing you've done where you've broken the hearts of the people that are closest to you, that it didn't torture you internally forever until you could forgive yourself or seek forgiveness from others.
Right.
So what hook are you being let off of, right? We got to wrap that up. My thought is this, is if we're trying to develop the healthiest relational environments in our life, we don't have to worry about Kobe. He's got his own life, and that's their own family. You have to worry about his hook. I love what you said, Lisa, is that let's look at our own life and say, who do we need to let off the hook? Or examine what is the quote-unquote hook in our life. Do we really want someone to change, or do we like the power we feel when we can still hold a grudge against them? It's a very, very, very dangerous pill to swallow as far as that bitterness that can come into your soul. And I think that's why the Word of God tells us to forgive as quickly and as fully, completely, as Christ has forgiven us.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing the hook that he lets us off of. That's about as deep as we can go. The rest of the show was about pigs in a blanket, bean dip, and what are the things we like? Weenies? What are they called? Cocktail weenies.
Cocktail weenies, also known as Lil Smokies.
Little Smokies.
Little Smokies.
Come on, Indiana. Be better.
Oh, we love you, Indiana, and beyond.
And beyond.
But we love 7-layer dip more.
That's true.
Oh, and shout out to all the chickens that gave their lives for
God rest their souls.
Hallelujah.
our
That they don't
nourishment.
have because they're just chickens.
700 million of them.
It's a lot of them.
We were talking
For
about
one
how many
day.
chickens just are there. That's for one day.
There's
Yeah.
700 million chickens.
a lot of chickens.
It did.
all-
And
man.
we did have an unanswerable question from the show. So if you did listen and you can't sleep because you didn't know if we eat roosters or if we eat hens, we actually eat the hens. We eat the female birds, just FYI. So now you know.
No.
Don't
Rest
go,
easy tonight after you eat all the hen wings.
don't go down the Google search of what happens to all the boy chicks. Just don't.
Mhm.
Now-
Sometimes you just don't want to know.
Now we're
You
back
can't
to
unsee
sadness.
certain things.
Listen, if you got a friend that needs this episode, share it with them. We'd love to have a review.
Especially if they're vegan.
We'd love to have you give us
Vegan atheist.
give us a review on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you download the podcast. Share it with a friend. It'd mean a ton to us. And if we can help you, pray for you anyway, reach out to us at radiotheology.com or Daron, Brian, or Lisa at blackbirdmission.com. Have an amazing week, and never forget, God's for you, not against you. He is near you, not far from you. He has created you on purpose and for purpose. We love you. Talk to you next time right here Behind the Mic.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Mic. For more episodes, go to radiotheology.com.